Hello everybody, I'm Oren. You've probably seen some of my stuff on YouTube, some of the channels, tutorials, and I get asked quite often about my interview sets. So I'm gonna go through a real quick interview tutorial setup for you over here that we've got going today. And I'll show you kind of a behind the scenes with this little camera over here. This is a 2-camera shoot that we're doing. So we've got one on a motion tracking slider that's called the Red Rock Micro's one-man crew, and all it does is go back and forth, and that's going to be the tight shot. And normally the talent is not looking at this camera, they are looking at the wide shot camera. Well, it's on a wide shot right now as the studio reveal, so you can see everything that's going on behind the scenes, but that would be the main camera. And if we shoot it on 4K, I typically frame it a little bit looser so they could punch in. If we're doing a 1080, that would be a medium shot. This would be a medium close-up on this camera. So let me quickly show you, I guess, with this, what we got going here. That's our Red Rock Micro one-man crew. And in the distance, way distance over there, that's our main camera, which is normally not that far away. Generally, it's right next to the one-man crew over here. Right above me is our microphone. It's a small capsule condenser microphone. There's larger ones available. You could do shotgun mics. Depending on what you're using in the room, you'll get different characteristics. Shotgun microphones are not so good in rooms with a lot of echo. They can actually make the echo worse. This one works pretty well in an echoey room like we have right now, so long as you get it close to the mouth. And at this point right now, it's about as close to my mouth as it would be in a normal shot, which is just above the head. So if our main camera were in tighter, I could probably get away with it being this close. All right, light-wise, what do we got going? Right behind me, I've got the hair light, which is on a remote, which is nice to have when your light is up on high. So I can turn it on and off, and I could actually adjust the brightness. My key light right now is a Alzo 3200 softbox. These are all LEDs. We're doing everything LED except for one light in the background, which I'll show you shortly. So 3200 is the model number, but it's not the Kelvin. It's actually 56K. So it's daylight balanced. It's got a grid on it, cuts a bit of the light, but it acts nicely to keep the light off of the walls behind me. So if you want a more dramatic background, like we're trying to do over here with some slash light and some colors, you really have to kind of narrow the beam of the light on a softbox, otherwise it just goes almost everywhere. And since I'm going to be looking at talent facing this direction, my nose is pointing towards this light normally. So it would be a more dramatic shot than when I'm kind of facing this camera right now. In general, you want the main light, your key light, to be kind of in the same direction as your nose is pointing. Fill light over here, another daylight balance. Actually, it's a bicolor light. We've got it set to daylight balance. Then off to my left shoulder, your right-hand side, we've got a Bolton Spotlight LED, 55 watts, and it's just creating a little bit of a pattern on this back divider that's over my shoulder, my left shoulder, over my right shoulder, your left side. That is a mini Leco. It's the only tungsten light that I'm using today. That is a 75-watt ellipsoidal light that they often use in art galleries. They make huge versions. You know, these are the typical stage lights that you see at any kind of stage production. It allows you to throw a sharp focused beam that you can then cut with blades on either side to make different patterns, squares, rectangles, make it really narrow. So if you want to highlight a particular object, you could do it with those lights. I've got a cookie pattern in it. It's a little cutout called a gobo. Small metal disc. They come in different patterns. There's window shades, there's breakup patterns, which is what I'm using now. It kind of looks like tree leaves. So I've got that set behind the plant, and it's defocused. It's not making a sharp image. You'll see that on the wide shot. It nicely breaks up any kind of plain wall. You could throw a slash light. You could do almost anything with a nice hard light. Those are one of the few lights, the Lecos, the mini Lecos, are ones that you could project patterns with. You could take a cookie, which is a cutout pattern, on foam core or black foil, which I also use cinefoil, and throw that in front of a light. If you have a Fresnel light, that's perfect for it. So you might not be able to get as detailed a pattern, and it's harder to get the focus just right. You have to move the light a certain distance from the cookie to get it looking good. With that, everything is self-contained. You plug it in. If you want to cut the beam with shutters, you could do that. So It's a good purchase if you could find them used. I got that one for maybe 75 bucks. And then behind me, one other light over my left shoulder, screen right, is a little, it's my favorite, and this is a little tip, a little hint. It's called a waterfall light. It's kind of like a Christmas special effect holiday light. It makes all these funky patterns. You can project it on your ceiling or the outside of your garage or something like that. It's a tiny little box. It comes with a remote control, does a bunch of different colors. It's RGB. And you can turn the motor on and off to give this wavy psychedelic background. I just have it on blue with the motor off, so it projects what looks like a cookie pattern as well. Those are cheap on eBay, 10, 15 bucks will get you that. Thing to watch out for is they tend to flicker. So make sure you're not getting flicker on your camera, and you'll see it with certain colors more than others. And it depends on the brand. Some of them might flicker more than others. So just be wary of that. If you're getting flickering on those lights, then I would not suggest using it unless you know how to deal with flicker in post. It takes about an hour and change to set up the lights. If I have 15 minutes, I'll do a key light, fill light, hair light, and I'll be done with it. The more time I have for a setup, the more involved I can get in the setup. Hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to call out, feel free to subscribe and leave your feedback, and look forward to talking to you in the future. Cheers.